You're listening to The Support Report with Be Present, where we share real stories from young adults and how support changed their lives.
Thanks for tuning into another episode of Support Reports. We are Be Present. I am your host, Justin Peters, and joined, as always, by the amazing Kiara Riga. Kiara, how are you today?
I'm not too bad. I just had a scan, showed I'm still stable. I get to take a little chemo break when I'm on my road trip next week. So all good things for me. How about you?
Everything's great on my end too. I just recently moved in and we were chatting a little bit beforehand and it was a bit of a whirlwind, but hey, we're all settled in, boxes are unpacked and things are good to go here.
Love it. I love it.
Well, tell me a little bit about the road trip ahead too. I know you have some fun plans there. It's like 2 weeks or something. So you got to be doing something cool.
Yeah. 12 days. I'm going to Utah, seeing the Mighty Five national parks in southern Utah, and then dipping down to Arizona, doing the Grand Canyon, Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, Monument Valley, all those cool parks.
Well, you now just made me jealous and I am upset with that. That sounds like such an amazing trip.
It should be. We planned it like in February. So it's crazy that it's finally here.
Nice. Well, we do have somebody else joining as always. Let's introduce Paige here. Paige Comer is 28. Well, she was 28, is 28. We 29. Can get some 29. Okay. Recently turned 29, but when you were diagnosed, you were 28. Yeah. You were diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Paige, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you as well. Let's just kick off a little bit about your cancer story. It seems like it is pretty, recent, new, June of this year. And all of this started at, a vacation, I think it was.
Yeah.
Why don't you expand on that a little bit?
Hello. Yeah, I was feeling nauseous for about a month, kind of the whole month of May and June. And basically the one I felt, so I was like, and you can always handle pain. So I would take Zofran and be completely fine. And I was on a vacation in New York City, visiting my sister. We're all there for our birthdays and whatnot. And I ended up just feeling so nauseous. I was sleeping for 3 of the days. I would just drink champagne to try and deal with the nausea. And it really wasn't working. I mean, it's kind of funny now. And I just thought I had an ulcer. And then I went to my wellness doctor and I was like, hi, something is seriously wrong with me. I have no clue. No one could figure it out. And then one day after work, I went to urgent care and they're like, okay, here's an ultrasound appointment. And I was like, honestly, can you give me a CT scan? And she's like, yeah, but I don't have insurance that's going to pay for it. So it's battling insurance, which should never be a thing at all. And finally they're like, okay, next day you have a CT scan. Cause obviously this is also advocate for your health. If you know something's wrong with you, don't accept an ultrasound because I wouldn't have found out it was cancer through an ultrasound. It has to be a CT. So then went and got a CT scan, and it's kind of funny. The CT lady asked me, does lung cancer run in your family? I was like, no. And she's like, oh, protocols. And I was like, okay, super weird. And then I got I fast forwarded my scan, 4 hours later, the urgent care doctor called me and said, oh, you have cancer until proven guilty. Otherwise, I was like, so I'm hysterically crying on the phone. And she's like, okay, here's a number for a doctor you can call. It was so weird.
Wait, that was really the frame of reference? They said
yes.
You have cancer until proven otherwise?
Yes. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm guilty of something I did wrong. What?
I mean, I know that's probably a difficult piece of information to deliver to somebody, but there's got to be at least a little bit of coaching on how to empathetically tell someone that they are now that they now have cancer. That doesn't seem like the right way to do it.
No. And then she said, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. So, okay.
Kiara, do you remember your you have cancer moment?
Yeah. So when I finally got in to see the person who ultimately diagnosed me, he was great, but he came in and he was like, oh, I would bet money that this is breast cancer. And it was kind of this, it was a competition for him with himself that he could find the most breast cancer cases. I've since connected with other breast cancer patients who were diagnosed by him, and all of them said the same thing.
That's weird too.
You'd be shocked by what some people get. It's pretty bad.
I get it. Maybe that's a somewhat normal occurrence for him, but this is you and your feelings, and you are now realizing that you have cancer. I don't know if I would want either one of those introductions into my cancer journey.
But
None.
really, there's like no good one, but they're
course.
both like on the bad side of the spectrum.
All right, Paige, sorry, I cut you off. Feel free to continue your story.
You're good. Maybe come down and like, hey, can you come down? It's really urgent. Maybe you should bring a friend or your mom with you. Like, that would be a good idea.
Right.
Yeah. Or like, there's no easy way to say this. So I want to say it up front, and then I am here to listen. Or, you can ask as many questions as you want. I mean, once again, I don't know how I would approach it, but if I was somebody that just was told, even if this was my first time, I'd probably go to Google and figure out a better wording than you have cancer until proven guilty. All right. Sorry, Paige, back over your way now.
No, you're good. And then basically they give me an oncologist number and I call them right away and they're, okay, you have an appointment Monday, send over my CT scan. But I was really, really, really nauseous still. And then I was like, okay, can I come in Friday? And he's like, okay, I'll do something. He actually did me a favor. He's like, if you go to Hoag Hospital, it's like one of the best hospitals. He's like, if you go check yourself into urgent care, I will meet you at urgent care. I'll admit you overnight. You will do like your biopsy, everything right there. And so one day I found out like every single, like whatever you need, like all the testing, the biopsies. And I had to stay the night, which is never been to a hospital in my life ever. Wow. And they've always freaked me out. so fun. Yeah. And then basically I go the next day or go like a week later and he tells me my treatment and it's 5 days in the hospital, 6 times. So like legit, I'm in a hospital bed for 5 days and it's 96 hours and it's miserable. But one cool part is I don't have to like wear the hospital clothes and I can eat my own food and I can have friends visit me. And I don't know, I try and make the most of it and be like positive about it, but it's like actually awful when you don't like a hospital and it freaks you out. And sometimes in the middle of the night, there's like screaming going on and I like wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I need more Xanax. This is not okay. And I don't take pills. I like take Advil and that's like my choice of drug.
Yeah. So you're completely overwhelmed. You got put into an environment that always made you nervous from the get-go, but now you're also carrying this treatment of cancer, this diagnosis of cancer with you, and just told that you're going to have to go through 6 treatments of chemo that are going to bedridden you for 5+ days.
Yeah.
Perfect summer, huh? Welcome to 29.
April summer, bye.
So how'd your family react? So you're with them, I guess, whenever you got diagnosed, or you're with your mom, right?
No, I have a really close family. There's my mom and dad, and then there's 3 of us. I'm the oldest, so I have 2 younger sisters. Obviously no one reacted like, okay, like my family was kind of a shit show at the beginning because if something like goes wrong, there's always a way to like fix an issue. There's nothing like really that has ever gone wrong like this in our lives. So it's a whole entire shock. I mean, it's still a huge shock. Like everyone's still like terrified. And I mean, no one's really handled it well. Like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, did your family handle it well at all? Mine was just a hot mess.
I think everyone was trying to process it at the same time. It wasn't bad. Like they weren't bad to me, but I think everyone was kind of a hot mess. I would like come into the kitchen and my mom like could see my mom with red eyes and
and then you're like, you can't be crying. You have to help me.
I know, because then that makes me feel guilty and like, it's not my fault. And like, it becomes a whole thing.
Yeah. And then you still want to live your life, but then they're like, okay, but don't be eating sushi. Don't be eating salad. I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because they're probably on the forums too, like reading everything to try to help you get through everything. And then just throwing that out you and overwhelming you. And you have hundreds and hundreds of information coming at you, I'm guessing.
Oh, millions. But one thing we did do is we had a family meeting and each person got assigned a role in the family, like what to do. So like each one has to stay in their own lanes now.
Can you talk? That. Yeah. Can you talk more about that?
Like my mom's more of like the caretaker, like my secretary, like my main assistant, like my support. My dad is supporting her. My little sister who's, what is she? She is 19 and she and my other sister is more of like the fun ones. They're like the cheerleaders, let's go plan parties. Like, let's go like make Paige happy.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend, my sister's boyfriend, who is the middle sister, he does like all the research. And if there's any questions, we go to him and we ask him.
Interesting.
So that's been helpful.
Did he volunteer for that role, or he's the perfect fit for that role? He's like that kind of guy.
Yeah. And my other sister's like, get me out of the hospital. We don't want anything to do with that.
That's fair. Yeah. And yeah, that's interesting that your dad acts as a supporter to your mom, but we talk very frequently that supporters also need support as well. So it's cool that you guys recognize that fairly early on.
Yeah. So it was really a good thing to do. And he like will help like cook food, and so does my mom. Like, and the whole thing is like eating at a certain time, like all of that, like getting out of the hospital. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you need to have like all your meals planned. Like, you have to eat certain food. The whole thing is just a mess in general.
Yeah. How do you pass the time, the 96 hours you said that you got to sit in a hospital bed?
Well, I'm still working. I still work. So that's awesome. I'm able to do that. My mom is there like every day, which I'm like, you cannot leave me. Like, I would not know what I would do without her there. Like,
Cute.
And then people are in and out every 4 hours, every hour. The nurses are like my age, and I have like 3 of them are like my friends now. So they kind of hang out in my room all day. So we like chit chat, hang out a bit. So they're always like popping in and out. And then at night, each one of my friends will like come and bring me dinner. So they're there for like 3 or 4 hours. I couldn't imagine like doing it without like family or friends around.
Yeah.
Like
and the people diagnosed during COVID who got like one support person for their whole bone marrow transplant, and like that person had to stay quarantined with them. Like, I just cannot imagine. So that's awesome that you had such a great support system being there for you the whole time.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't do it during COVID. I would absolutely go crazy.
No.
I get it, but I don't necessarily get that as well. When support is so important in the entire process and all of that, I felt like it was really hard. Of course, I was seeing it from the lens of cancer, being a part of Be Present and hosting this podcast as well. And as soon as I was hearing about that, some hospital stays, that makes sense for me. And maybe there isn't as big of a need for supports, both emotionally and physically, but recently diagnosed cancer patient, and then they're one support person that is also, like we were just saying, carrying a lot as well, and also needs support and some people to help out in certain areas. I couldn't imagine.
It's a really tricky thing because cancer patients are also one of the most susceptible populations to dying of COVID. So how do you balance it properly, right? But I think now we're in a phase where if visitors aren't allowed, they should be. Like, you can have testing and vaccine requirements on it, but I don't think we're at a place where people should be without support at this point.
I completely agree. I couldn't imagine being in the hospital a week, or even like, because the bone marrow is 30 days, isn't it?
I think, 100 days is like the most important part, but I think hospitalized for 30.
Yeah, and you have to be there, and like no one can be around you. I can imagine being in a month in the hospital.
No.
To have a bone marrow transplant? Yeah. Wow. Holy cow.
I just learned about it, and it really freaked me out. And I was like, do I have to do that? And they're like, no, we haven't even like gone to that path.
Yeah. Let's double click on your younger sisters as well. You said that they were in charge of having fun or coordinating fun. How has that shown up so far in all of this?
We did something really cool that you guys might find interesting. Basically, when I turned 29, all of my family came out, and we did like a hibachi guy come to our house. And yeah, it was super awesome. And then we turned it into a wig party, and everyone like wore fun, colorful wigs. And that was really cool. So we've done that. I'll go down to my sister's in San Diego for the weekend. My sister, who was going to school in New York, she's been down like 3 or 4 times, and we just plan activities and like just do fun stuff. This weekend we were in Palm Springs for my mom's birthday. So I still am living my life, but just like stepping back.
Sure. That's fair. Yeah, the
wig. Awesome that you're able to do that. I love the wig party idea. I remember when we thought I was going to lose my hair, all my friends were like, oh, we're going to get crazy wigs and like go for a night out with them on. And I've been holding it in my back pocket for whenever I have to do chemo.
Oh my God, you have to. It's the wig parties. I haven't lost my hair like completely at all, which is awesome. But the wig parties are so fun. Yeah. Everyone wears different color wigs. You can be a different character for the night. You can have like 3 or 4 wigs. It's really fun. Because I did it for a bachelorette party one time. It was awesome.
That's rad. I love that.
I saw the pictures of yours, Paige, too. And it was like all neon colored hair too, which is like made for really cool, like a really cool scene.
Yeah, it was really good on Instagram.
Are you still, I think you said that you were going to potentially do that as a tradition every single year. Is that still a thought?
Yeah, I think why not? I mean, as much as I don't want to like celebrate any of this and just want to put it all behind me, I feel like I probably need to do something every year to be like, yes, like cancer free again, and just like keep positive and just like, yes, you dealt with this, and then try and remember like all the grateful and good memories.
How do you stay positive in this certain situation every single time? I mean, this entire conversation so far, both recorded and not recorded, you have been super positive. You very frequently say cancer free or when I am. I heard you say a couple of those, and then the interview that I read that you did as well, is a big part staying positive. What's the mindset around that, or what's your line of thinking there?
Well, I was never afraid that I was ever going to die, I guess, because it's like everyone has said, like, if you get one kind of cancer, this is the best kind to have. So that was always my mindset. And then I'm generally just a positive person. Normally, like I'm kind of trying to look at the bright side. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been very negative. I'm trying to stay positive is what it is. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm working on being grateful, like trying to be grateful for like 3 or 4 things a day. Like, and that is what is really kept my mindset trying to stay positive. It's just being grateful for things, being appreciated that I have a cancer that is curable, being appreciated that I have family, friends, and I'm able to live in California, where I live now, and like by the beach, and just try and be grateful for everything in my life.
Anything to add there, Kiara?
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's so important to kind of think through things that way. And I found like I started just like forcing myself to think that way. And now I like actually feel like I am living it and not just like pretending to be grateful for something while I'm upset. Like, I think, I don't know. I think you can kind of force your brain in that way. And that's, that can be really, really helpful going through treatment, especially if it's like a long haul situation.
Which yours is, I think, even more impressive, the fact that you have metastatic cancer and that you have found a way to be positive throughout all of that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very impressive.
I agree. I try and write 3 positive things a day that I'm grateful for.
I love it.
You can try that.
Can you share one from today?
I think today was my mom's birthday, and we had like a birthday lunch, and all the family got together. And I'm grateful to have be around all my family.
Man, I could tell support is very crucial or important to you. Everybody that has showed up, the fact that your friends like bring you dinner too and hang out with you guys, like that's pretty cool. And then it seems like your family is hyper involved.
Yeah.
Maybe to a fault.
Maybe a little much. I'm like, can I be alone, please?
What role do you feel like selflessness plays in your cancer support?
That's a tough one. I feel like everyone has to take a step back, and no one is going through it like me and Kiara are even going through or even can understand. Mm-hmm. And I feel like maybe that's like a selfless role, is like we have to try and put ourselves in like their shoes as well. Like, I will never share what my mom is going through. She's like, this is the hardest thing in the world. Because imagine your daughter having cancer, and it's like, you have to try and put yourself in other people's roles. And then that might help you be like selfless. Mm-hmm. If that kind of makes sense in a way.
No, I think it does. It definitely does.
That's like level 400 empathy right there. The fact that not only are you getting upset, but you're also reframing, okay, what does mom feel like right now? Like, what is her feelings? And like, and validating her feelings as well. Of course, you're the one carrying cancer, but she's the one supporting you. And honestly, seems like it's probably taking an emotional toll on her as well. So the fact that you can step back and be like, I also need to give her some grace and some space with all of this is important.
I mean, all our traveling got put aside. Could you imagine when you had family vacations planned and we had to stop them all? The doctor's like, you cannot go to Mexico. You cannot go to Switzerland. I'm like, wait, why? I can't? I was like, I'm in between treatment. He's like, no. It's like, oh, okay.
That's a bummer. I can feel that a little bit. I had a lot of planned in April of 2020, and of course COVID canceled absolutely everything I had planned that entire month, and that was a big bummer. I couldn't imagine like also having to like be in the hospital, trade, I was just sitting around the house, but trading that position to be in the hospital too, that would have been terrible.
Right.
So Kiara, anything that I missed before we start wrapping up things here with Paige?
No, I think this was a great conversation, Paige. You've got a great mindset for all of this. And I think this will be a really, really awesome podcast episode.
Agreed. Paige, where can people connect with you? I think you had like a private Instagram page, so I wasn't really sure where you're pointing people or directing people. If they resonated with something or they wanted to reach out, ask a follow-up question, where would the best place for people to go?
Yes, my Instagram was public and I might put it back on, but now it's just private just because just getting a lot of messages. But anyone is feel free to reach out to me whenever. I've actually made about like 5 cancer friends through Instagram, and I've reached out to other people. So reach out to me really if you have any questions. That's kind of, we all need to be here to support each other. But my Instagram is classicpaige_.
Nice. Classicpaige_. So we always finish with this one question, Paige. So what, through your experience, as a cancer patient, especially early on so far, what does great support look like?
I feel like you have to stay positive, and that can be supporting yourself. And I feel like surround yourself with people who actually like have been your friends from the beginning and want to be around you, because people are going to reach out to you from like high school you haven't talked to in 15 years. And so that whole thing is just like another whole other can of worms I'm not even going to open. But yeah, just really be around people who really support you and have always been your friends from the beginning. And then a lot of people do talk about cancer ghosting, and that really freaked me out from the beginning. But I don't know if maybe Kara, I don't know if that's really a thing or it's true, or a lot of that happens to people. So I would really be careful like who your friends are and that's how I would just be supportive that way. I haven't had any cancer ghosting, but I just have heard, and it was just a lot.
I've had a cancer ghost.
Really?
Yep. We were supposed to hang out. Justin might know this story. Yeah. We were supposed to hang out the day after my diagnosis. And so I texted her and was like, hey, here's what's happening. Still would love to hang out. And she goes, she said, yeah. And then an hour before she goes, hey, I can't come. My cat's lying on me and he feels hotter than normal. I think he has a fever. And so I need to stay home and take care of my cat. Never heard from her again.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's just a terrible human.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those. Yeah.
Well, Paige, Kiara, absolute pleasure having this conversation with you guys today. We can chat a little bit more after we finish record here, but it's been a blast. Thanks for sharing some time with us and getting involved in the Be Present organization. And Kiara, if I don't hear from you, have fun on your vacation. I can't wait to see all the pictures.
Thank you. I'll send tons.